whatever it is, to reach out to these people. It's hard to just set up your own website and get magically these clients. So you have to use a platform. How to earn in early 20s? So many ways: freelancing, taking up a job, internship, affiliate marketing. If you don't want to get into technical side, writing, that comes under freelancing. But yeah, these gigs, these are like, the standard way to go about.
Hey Mehul,
Yeah,
I think we can start. We have around 88 people.
sure.
So yeah, we can start
So
in like a minute. Hey guys, just wait for a minute and we'll get started then.
you can keep the questions coming in.
Yeah,
I think
Mehul will
Harish,
Q&A at the end, so you can answer it
yeah,
at that time as well.
Harish or anyone from the team can pick up any common questions and we can discuss that.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll do that.
Harish, let me know when we can start.
I think you can start now. You're about to hit 100.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. First of all, I know these are tough times and might not be the best situation for everyone around their home. So really appreciate you guys taking out your time this evening. So let's get to the point. Let's get to why we are here, right? So Codam is launching a front-end web developer accelerator. That's how I like to call it, the program, the accelerator. Why? Because we will try to accelerate our learning, which should probably take you 8 to 10 to even 12 months of time into these 60 days, right? So by this, obviously, there would be a little bit of compactness in information, and I would expect you to put in decent amount of work, right, on a daily basis, or once every 2 days basis at least. So before actually getting into program, I'll just quickly discuss about myself, why you should even listen to me, what you can get out of this program when you're following my journey. So I would like to call myself a full stack developer. I have basically worked with most of the front end technologies and a handful of back end technologies, linking databases and everything. I was also one of the 14 students from India who attended Apple's WWDC 19 scholarship as a scholar. Google Microsoft Hall of Fame, I have been listed there because of the security vulnerabilities I reported in, 3, 4, 5 years back. These were basically critical bugs within their systems, which when exploited could give you elevated privileges for, let's say, accessing your Gmail account or your YouTube account, things like these. I also run Codam as a YouTube channel, which has 150K subscribers viewed over 20 million plus times, which is also like, a YouTube typical developer channel. And this is also a codam.com platform, which is where our cohort base, this course will be mostly being conducted, right? I've done a lot of freelancing in the past, and I would contribute a lot of my learnings as well to that freelancing journey, because just working on different projects, working on different problems taught me a lot of stuff eventually. I've also written a couple of books, on JavaScript and React primarily, and I'm a writer, I'm a blogger. I write blogs on Free Code Camp as well. I was their top author last year, and yeah, Codam also has its own blog. So I'm active on video, audio, and the blogging front. So the question now is, which is, I mean, like the most common question, why not YouTube? Why not, just go ahead and watch playlists on YouTube? And the answer to this is fairly straightforward. I would say if you have time, and if you have the discipline, and if you have the motivation, and if you have the dedication to not get distracted, and if you have, again, the time to research the right playlist, the right content, I mean, sure, go ahead and watch content on YouTube. You don't need to attend this webinar. You don't need to get into any Udemy, even Udemy paid course at all. You can go ahead and get a very good basic understanding, a basic beginner level understanding just from YouTube content as well. Sure, you can do that. But building on top of a few things which I want to discuss is programming is very much like, learning integration in 11th or 12th, right? You would see that you will never be able to learn integration or differentiation or, whatever the hardest topic you can imagine in maths or whatever your field was by just reading the material for it, right? I mean, you would never really see a person just recommending you to read 5 different books on integration, right? Or 5 different books on calculus or any other topic. People would, what they would say is, hey, this is a textbook. Go ahead and solve questions from this. Go ahead and start solving these questions from RD Sharma, whatever it is, whatever book you choose. And programming is so much like maths, right? You have to practice what you are learning, otherwise it will not fit into your muscle memory of when you're trying to code. You will be not confident when you're trying to solve real world problems. You will face all sorts of difficulties, imposter syndrome, whatever tutorial hell, whatever other words are these. And I believe most of the stuff can be avoided if you're practicing what you're learning simultaneously, side by side, so that you build in that confidence, build in that validation that you're learning what you're seeing. Unfortunately, videos is still the primary way of teaching people how to code, but there are so much better ways. I mean, there always has been a better way, that you just watch a video and practice with it. But now, with the help of technology, with the help of infrastructure, cloud-based, and giving you a full cloud environment within the browser, the technology is there that we can give you a full, practice environment within your browser window without actually leaving your system or without actually leaving your browsers. Videos are fine. Videos are great in order to learn something new, but obviously it is a super bad thing to practice because it's non-existent. How would you practice on a video? You have to do it on your own, right? Videos just offload the practice to you. So you would never really, I mean, this doesn't even make sense to talk about how would you practice with a video. You can't do much. You have to just go back to your text editor and do it yourself. However, this element, this practicing element, is the most important thing, which gets ignored a lot of times. And this leads to all sorts of tutorial hell, confusion, jumping off one resource to another, whether it's just a YouTube playlist to another playlist, or one Udemy course to another Udemy course, or any other paid course or free course, doesn't matter. They usually, what happens is that if you're finishing a Python basics playlist or JavaScript basics playlist, they trick you in the sense that you understood something, when the fact is that you understand something only when you have practiced with it, only when you have built something with it, and you have a sensible understanding of what's happening, right, with the thing you're doing. And that can only work, that can only happen when you're messing around with the tools and the tech which you have. The other way of saying that is by practicing. Plus, if you take example of YouTube, you can surely learn HTML. You can surely learn CSS. Can you learn front-end web development from YouTube? Some of you would say yes. I would say no, in a sense, because you would be learning HTML from a 2020 playlist, let's say. You would be learning CSS and JavaScript from a 2017 playlist. You would be learning React from a 2018 video. You would be learning React query from a 2021 or 2017, depending on what you're learning. You would be learning, maybe somebody recommends you, oh, now it's time to learn TypeScript, but it might not be the time to learn TypeScript. It might be the time to explore more into React. So there is so much confusion. There is so much fragmentation, not defragmentation, in the online content space, especially in the free resources, right? Especially, this is especially targeted towards YouTube. Udemy and other these platforms, sure, there are some courses which come in bundles, but again, I would argue that no single course you would find which teaches you full stack web development. And it's not that these courses cannot be created. It's just that the content and the volume is too much to be included in a single course, that you will never eventually complete it as a single course. You need breaks, you need project building, you need to assess yourself, you need to reiterate, you need to visit few older paths when you're trying to learn these technologies. This is not a single pass game. Programming is not something which you just watch one time and you either learn it or you don't. It is a multi-pass game in the sense that you have to revisit the concepts which you have learned, maybe 1 month down the line. You have to revise things which you're forgetting, in the sense by building projects around that, by using them somehow. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty much not possible with online content because it's not reliable. Number one, I mean, you don't really know that if whatever you are learning actually fits in nicely with the next thing you're about to learn, right? It could be outdated, it could be missing lack of best practices, or things like these. um, Basically it's not vetted, right? The content is not vetted for you personally. And like I said, if you have a lot of time on your hand, by all means use YouTube and others if you want. I mean, I would say personally, this is my personal experience. I started coding when I was what, like 13, 14, and I never really paid for anything for learning to code. I just used free resources, documentation, YouTube, MDN, everything. And I won't say like it took me all these 7, 8, 9 years to arrive at this point, but I would say I would have easily reduced a couple of years, even more, if I had Codam, or if I had a dedicated guided learning path to learn the tech stack, because I learned so many things which are not really required at that time. And I would have made better use of my time if I was just learning relevant parts. PHP, for example. I mean, I ended up working with Node.js forever. Like I always use Node.js for most of the stuff, but I have learned PHP in great depths, right? So if I could just remove that part and just replace it with Node.js or more JavaScript, I think I would chip away like a couple of years easily, just with a single language. But there was nobody there to tell me that, hey, if you have learned JavaScript, why not just try Node or Python or anything like that? So these are small, silly mistakes which you might think that these are small decisions. Oh, PHP would have taught him something different, or this and that, but they eventually could cost you years in your learning time. And especially as students, because you would not have that much clarity on what industrial technologies are, or what is popular in industry, or what you should learn, which gives you an edge. So you might just start learning everything which is coming at you, and most of these things are not needed, for a lack of better word. So yeah, I mean, if you're starting at a 13, if there's any 13-year-old and they want to explore everything on their own, I would highly recommend just go ahead and do that if you want to. But if you need to speed up things a little bit, you need to get to the, I would say, the correct path quicker in terms of learning, in terms of building your development career, and you quickly want to iterate whether development is for you or not at all, then I think code dam and this approach is better. Coding boot camps is also one of the interesting aspects which I think a lot about. But if you take a look at a standard coding boot camp, these are the prices for them, right? And they are an offline setup, and all the things, they basically spoon feed each and every aspect of the thing to you. This is fine. I'm not against coding bootcamp. I understand they have, they bring offline support, and they have centers and everything. But we, as people of, 21st century, and modern tech people who know how to operate computers, who can hack their way around things, who can open 10 different tabs and figure out what's going on, I think, I mean, we can seriously learn stuff on our own, just given the right guidance, just given the right resources. And if you're just stuck somewhere when you're learning, asking the right people and getting unstuck is, I think, I believe we all can do. I mean, I was able to do it. So, I have seen other people doing it. So I believe you can do it too. So there's no real need of paying so much for information which you can get on internet, in terms of whether it's free or paid, and with guided mentorship or dedicated guidance. So the question is now, what is exactly Code Dam? I mean, I mentioned you that it's a YouTube channel. That's completely fine. That's fair. But in essence, on the codedam.com platform, we are trying to make learning to code interactive, like it should be. So I would think about Codam as, in an analogous way, as a textbook compared to a mathematics textbook. So video course is like a textbook which does not have questions in it, just the material. Codam is a textbook which has questions, which has practice sessions, which has projects embedded within the material, and which has community support. Like, a lot of people from this live call and this cohort itself will be your friends, will be people you would be a part of a small group. So you will be able to interact with them, not only with them, obviously with me as well. But yeah, that's one thing, one aspect of the platform. The other aspect, which is the online aspect, is that you are actually learning while you are practicing. And what do I mean by that? Is that let's take a standard look at one of your courses, which will be there in the program, Advanced Practical JavaScript. We'll be learning about promises, async await, DOM manipulation, stuff like this, right? So a little bit of high end. This will be, I think this is your week 4. I'm a little not sure on the week 3 or 4, but this is probably around week 4. And a standard look for the courses like this. So sure, you would have a video concept, a video which will explain how this works, but this is just not a video. In the next item, or in the next, whatever the course item is. So you learned about .10 in JavaScript. This is just one example. And this is a practice session where you are actually supposed to write to practice what you have learned, right? So just to give you a quick look on this is a browser, Chrome, obviously a browser-based environment where you have a real development setup inside the browser itself. So it might look very familiar. This editor might look familiar to VS Code. If you go to just file structure here, you'll see that it's closely resembling VS Code because we are using an open source implementation of VS Code in the browser itself. You can see on the bottom, I'm not sure if it is visible, but on the bottom, there's a terminal, which is a real Linux terminal. If you have Linux or Mac OS, whatever it is, you could actually open a terminal on your system. And this is the same terminal, but it's embedded inside a browser. So you have these challenges. Your function fn should return a promise, and the stuff. So you have these certain challenges, certain labs within your course structure, which you have to complete. And as you're completing these, you will get feedback when you try to run this code. So when you run it, it'll run within the browser, within your servers, and you don't necessarily have to download anything or run any package. And every single course is filled with exercises like these. So you immediately get feedback on whether you are learning a particular concept in a right or a wrong way. And you can move on and you can move forward if you're done with that. Now, the advantage of such a system is that, launching a cloud-based computer within the browser and an editor and a whole UI for this is that we can actually spin full-blown projects, not just simple hello world Python application or Python testing, right? By full-blown projects, what I mean is, like, let's say you're learning about HTML. So you have an actual web browser at your disposal, a web browser preview, where whenever you make some changes, you will see what exactly is happening, right? So it's not static. It's not like, DSA-based testing where you just have to write the input, get the output, compare, and done. It's real world testing environment where you can practice, you can mess around, your solution can look different from the ideal solution, but it'll still work, right? So this is like how CodeDAM environment works, the practice environment works. This is again one of the examples where somebody is building a birthday project in React.js. So you have all sorts of environment, you have all sorts of controls available to you like you would have in a local setup. But the only difference here is, which is a major difference, is that these things, this whole course is guided for you. That means you are told that what should be there, what should be done. And I like to think about this as, training wheels when you're trying to ride a bicycle. So you have those training wheels. Once you're confident enough in your skills, once you have practiced it here, you might as well just download this project locally, might as well just try it locally, push it to GitHub, create your own portfolio within CodeDAM projects, from the CodeDAM projects as well. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You can just customize, build on top of these projects which are already available. You can build something from scratch. The end goal is that you will be able to have confidence by writing code from scratch, right? Like I was also answering one question in the chat where the guy was mentioning, I don't feel confident when I'm trying to do it on my own, but the videos and everything is fine. This is how CodeDAM breaks it. This is how the cycle is broken, in the sense a typical CodeDAM course will never allow you to go on autopilot mode of learning. What happens is that, after watching 3 videos in a YouTube playlist, you take a step back on your chair and, you're just relaxed that, hey, I think I'm getting this. And then you're going into autopilot mode where you're just thinking, you're learning. By the time you just take a look at wall clock, whatever, the playlist is over, and you didn't understood technically anything, because if you go back and try to start something on your own, you're not confident. So I would just equate it to not understanding anything. So these practice projects, these practice sessions, these small exercises is how we break it down. This is, of course, powered by, because you're a part of accelerator group. So you will also have a daily breakdown of curriculum. What does that mean? That means this is how a typical, I'll share a Google Doc with all of you. People who obviously who are part of the program, you will get an 8-week, 60-day breakdown, where these are just some pointers of what you should do on an every single day basis. You could technically follow it by date, but these are more of hints that, hey, in the first week we would ideally want you to cover HTML and CSS. In the second week, maybe we can progress to JavaScript. In the third week, JavaScript advanced. In the fourth week, we'll start React. Then in the fifth week, we'll come back to HTML and CSS, stuff like this. So this is there. And yeah, this daily breakdown really helps a lot of people who are not able to figure out how to proceed or what to do next. But for other hackers around here and people who can just hack around their way with CodeDam and the curriculum, I mean, as a membership, you already have access to full website, right? So you might as well just learn out at your own pace and use the group and use me as a fail safe. If you're stuck somewhere, then just ask and we'll help you get unstuck. Like I said, this is powered by community as well. So if you are stuck, the most important thing is to get unstuck real quick, whether it's using some external service like Stack Overflow, any forum, anything, or whether it's using your own community of CodeDam, your small group, your Discord, anything, your comment section within CodeDam. Just making sure you get unstuck is real quick is super important. It's also powered by Zoom live sessions, in the sense that I'm not leaving you just alone with the content itself. We will have weekly Zoom live sessions where I would be joining the call, and hopefully you would be too. And we can discuss any technical or non-technical stuff, whether it's related to something. The only condition is that I should technically be aware about that topic as well. If you ask me about rocket science, obviously I won't be able to help you that. But if you ask me about React.js or Next.js or TypeScript or stuff like this, maybe we can discuss a few things. Maybe we can take up a few doubts and just see if that helps everyone else. So there will be Zoom sessions weekly, on a weekly basis, including the one which will be the onboarding session in a few days, right? So if you're participating in this, there will be an onboarding session followed by weekly Zoom sessions. And of course, you will have unlimited, uninterrupted, infinite access to CodeDam's hands-on infrastructure as a CodeDam Pro member, which is in partnership with this program, Unify. But remember, this stuff sounds fancy, this stuff sounds good, but I don't want to take away the fact that programming still takes time and programming still takes effort, consistency. This CodeDam and this whole flow really helps people who are already willing and who are already hungry, right? This will really help you save your time. CodeDam will not be able to make somebody a developer who does not wishes to become a developer. This is not a magic wand or something sort of magical where I can just turn you into a developer. That's not how it works. Programming is one of the few fields where I believe motivation and consistency is like super important. I mean, you won't be able to become a good developer if you're not consistent and if you're not hungry by default. We just help you save your time. We just help you not lose that motivation, and we just help you not lose that path when you're going forward. So these few things are super important along the way as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I would love to take it up at this point. I mean, Harish and the team can just pick up a few questions from the chat if you want. You already have the details. I think Harish will make sure of that. And yep, feel free to ask any questions. Happy to answer any sort of question at this point. You can also reach out to me at Twitter if you want after the session. So yeah, Harish, if you could just take out any relevant questions which you think would be common.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just rephrase this question. After this course, like say if everyone completes all the challenges, what sort of opportunities can they get in terms of internships or jobs?
So I would say one thing the program guarantees, the only one thing which it guarantees is that you will learn about front-end web development involving the latest React stack, right? This is what the program says. What you make out of this is pretty much anything. You can get a job out of this, you can get an internship, you can get into freelancing, you can, earn money with freelancing and projects. Everything depends on you. I have seen people who are literally just applying for jobs after completing this program, given that they have practiced a lot as well along the way. So the program makes you eligible for this, but will you be able to complete the program and get a grip on whatever you're trying to learn? That completely boils down to how much effort you're putting on an average on a daily basis.
Cool. Another question is, how can I avail the course? I've put in the link at the top, so you can click on the link and avail for it. We'll also be sharing it on the groups. Someone's a DevOps engineer right now, and they're like, can I try the full stack roles after completing this?
Full stack, no, because you would also need the back end information and back end knowledge. But I'm assuming if you are already into DevOps, you would have a little bit of experience with back end anyway. So I think you just need to get comfortable with front end. So yeah, I think if you want to just start with front end, that's a good place to be. But other than that, like I said, it's not a compulsion that you just keep working on front end. You do have access to codedam.com as a website complete, which also has backend content. So you can start working with backend as well and become a full stack developer. So sure.
Okay, someone's asking if this session is on YouTube because they missed a major chunk. Yes, it is on YouTube. We'll be posting the link on the WhatsApp groups. So if you're not part of the WhatsApp groups yet, then just go and become part of it. Can I know whether it's a, since Mehul is putting in time and since Codam as a platform is paid, this is a very cheap course. So you can check out the web dev thing for the pricing. It's I think 1990 for the basic plan and 3999 for the advanced plan. I'm having some knowledge about JavaScript. Should I learn TypeScript for now? Okay, someone's asking, should I learn TypeScript? I know JavaScript a bit.
If you are comfortable with JavaScript, TypeScript is the next step. Sure, you should try it out. It will really help improve your workflow, and you'll catch a lot of bugs on the build time itself instead of on production.
Ashish, if you know Java, this is not Java, this is JavaScript. It's web development. So if you're interested in web development, you can take up this course. Ravi Kiran, is there any time constraint for the plan? Yes, Mehul's first session would be on 16th, which is in 2 days. So, you can enroll today or tomorrow. Okay, someone's saying they're an absolute beginner. Can they take this course?
If you're willing to put in effort and if you're dedicated to become a front-end developer, again, sure, anyone can join this course.
Someone's asking, is DSA necessary to become a web developer?
No.
Okay. Will I be able to make Netflix or Disney Plus clones after completing this course sincerely?
Yeah, you can. That's Netflix and Disney clones on the UI part is nothing. Once you understand, you would probably have the knowledge to create those within the first 2 weeks. But creating the back end and creating the infrastructure and creating that video processing pipeline and scaling it to millions, probably billions of people, that is where the Netflix company is, right? So creating a Netflix UI clone is no metric of somebody being a good developer or a bad developer. You could try it and you will be able to do it, but don't really optimize for these clone projects. Optimize for understanding and optimize for the knowledge which you'll get out of the program.
Okay. Aryan is asking the difference between basic and the advanced plan. I'll quickly explain it. So the basic plan will give you access to live sessions on weekends. So you'll be talking to Mehul live on every weekend, and he'll sort of answer your questions. If you have any sort of question or have a discussion with Mehul, that will happen on weekends. It's a 60-day program, by the way, and you'll get access to Codedam's platform, so you can actually code things, you can do challenges, you can work on projects. This is not like one of those courses where you just watch videos. Here you actually code and learn stuff and practice it instead of just passively watching it. And you also get access to a community, so you'll be put in a private group where you can talk to other peers of yours, right, who are also learning web development along with you. And you'll also get recordings of all the live sessions in case you want to access it later. That's the basic plan. And in the advanced plan, you get the same thing, but if you want one-on-one calls with Mehul, like personal calls with Mehul on weekdays, then you can get access to Mehul personally on weekdays. In the basic plan, you get access to him on weekends, but if you want more calls, one-on-one personalized calls, then you can opt for the advanced plan. So whichever suits you, you can go for it. Basic costs 1900 rupees and advanced costs 3999 rupees. 1900, I think for this level, you saw coding bootcamp prices. So I think this is definitely worth a shot. And yeah, that's the difference between the basic and the advanced plan, answering your question. I'm in first year. When should I start web development? You can start anytime, man. There's no time to start. Rachit, no, this is a beginner friendly course. So, if you don't know a bit of HTML or CSS, it's totally fine. Even if you know quite a lot, or even if you're starting from scratch, it doesn't matter. It's for everyone. How many hours will we have to put in every day in this course? Tanish is asking. Mehul?
So I would say you have to calibrate yourself on this question. It's there is no one good answer for everyone. For some people, 2 hours is more than enough. Maybe they understand quickly. For other people, it takes more time and it takes more absorption capacity. So they have to practice for maybe like more time. So you would have to see how much you are able to consume in a single day, how much you are able to retain, and that's how you have to calibrate your learning. So I would say, if you want an answer on an average, at least 1.5 hour on an average. But this is a vague number. It would really, really depend on you as an individual.
How is it different from the Codam playlists available on YouTube?
That's first of all, that's just passive content. Second of all, that's not the all content which is available on codedown.com. And third, it does not include the practice elements. It does not include the projects. Fourth, it does not include the community aspect. It does not. I mean, there's so many differences. I mean, the whole presentation was about that YouTube question. Why not YouTube?
Abhishek, it's 1900. Cool, guys. If you have any more questions, you can put it on the WhatsApp group. I'll quickly share the WhatsApp group link, so you can just join in and you can DM any of the admins. They'll be happy to answer your question. The registration is closing in a day, so you only have today and tomorrow. And from 16th onwards, Mehul will start his sessions. So thanks, Mehul. Thanks for coming, and thank you everyone for joining in. Um, really appreciate it. Thanks, Mehul. Looking forward to this course.
Thanks, Harish. All right. Take care. Bye.